Oh, it feels weird. It feels weird to record again.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my god.
I already have my team builder recorded for Raian's League, and it was so weird. I haven't done a team builder in ages, man. It's been a journey.
I just noticed like probably like 15 through 20 does not have shadows, and I don't feel like changing that. Nobody would notice.
It is what it is.
Nobody would notice. I'm cutting this part out anyways. Should I do an introduction now? Or...
Maybe while presenting and showing your team, unless you have like a title slide.
I do not.
You could just do a blank one with the background.
Or I could like do a separate one like before tomorrow, before I send it. Like just do a pre-recorded one and then stitch it up with this.
Oh, yeah, you could do that, or because you could just make a new slide with just the PDL logo, and we could just do an intro of like what we're doing. But
or this could be the intro of us doing the PDL season 11 power rankings. Ta-da!
well, I don't know if it's power rankings, but
it's team reviews. Yes.
listen, man. Last time I did power rankings, yikes.
Last time we did power rankings, we watched a 3-hour video while I was at Kroger washing dishes. But you know that's a whole different ordeal. But yeah, we have 20 teams through this season. I'm pretty excited. Everybody dropped it really fast. About what, 3 days, 4 days for 20 people. It was really easy to get
Yeah, I
through
was
everything.
surprised for 20 man that it went so quick. I mean, I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, we picked a good group.
Surprising, man. Yeah.
We picked a really good group. But yeah, so this is my team. This is my team. I started off first. I changed my team to be the Miami Pelicans because I got the first pick. Luckily, totally not rigged at all.
Not rigged at all.
Not at all. Obviously, I have to take Pelicans in the 20-man draft league. I feel like either it's gonna be this or Iron Valiant. So you know, Pelicans makes a sense. Oh yeah, well I mean, whenever I use Pole never does anything for me. Pole is I love Pole, but he's just not my guy. And that's why I have Zero Aura, because I am fearful of Pole, but I do not like using Pole. So I'm rather get somebody that's at least 1 point higher than him. Yeah. I'm really happy with this.
I don't know how you ended up getting Palafins, Aurora, and Victini, because I mean, you were first pick, right? So wheel pick, it came all the way back. 2 whole rounds went by, and neither of those were taken, which was insane to me. But I like your team. You got a lot of threats. I mean, those first 3 is pretty much all the offense you need, but you still have Noivern in the back just in case. You got a bunch of utility in Glamour and Fortress. You got screens if you really need them in Grimmsnarl, plus it covers a bit more defense as well. It covers that fairy type that you pretty much need so you don't get swept by dragons. And then you got Regenerator in the back just for even more bulk.
I have 2 Regenerators,
yes. There too. Donphan's there so you don't get swept by electric types.
Yeah, exactly. Donphan, if there's a good electric type, Donphan can easily come in, just do his thing. I love him. How bulky he can be is so surprising too, and I love it. The biggest thing about this is the fact that Zero Aura did not go off the board before it did go off back to me. Victini, not really that surprising. Sometimes Victini doesn't even get picked in draft leagues. Zero Aura, it's usually like whenever Tapu Koko gets picked, Zero Aura is like picked almost immediately after.
Yeah, I was really surprised, especially I think the biggest one for me was Washington, who picked Gliscor round 1. I figured the gimmick was going to be Coco Gliscor or Zerora Gliscor, which is like very standard top 2 pick, right? I know Coco went pretty much right after he picked. Agency took him, which we'll get to later, but I was surprised he didn't take Zero Aura right after, if that was the snipe, because I think he mentioned that he got sniped round 2. So, but yeah, other than that, yeah, I don't really know how it got back to you, but it did. The one kind of thing is, I guess the team outside of like Glamour, Fortress, Grimmsnarl, the team is just like it's like half and half on bulk, I guess. Is as how I'm trying to describe it. Like your offensive threats are not the most bulky, and your defensive are not the most offensive. I guess is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
But then you have things like Glamora and Grimmsnarl that can kind of be both, and even Victini's got plenty of bulk to him. So I don't know. It's just I don't know if it's a team that I would like to use, but I do think it's a good team nonetheless.
Yeah, I do like the fact that I have Donphan and Fortress, and as well as Autono. Again, as you said, like Fortress and Autono are really not the type that you would expect to do damage, but they just sit there. They just are there to sit there. And honestly, that's what I'm kind of comfortable with doing, because if, let's be honest, if they have any attacking stat, I'm putting it into it. So
Yeah.
that's usually how I roll. So I'm trying to learn how to be better with that. Trying to get somebody like Palafin and Victini and like Glamora to be balanced out so they can actually hit hard and also be able to take hits. Honestly,
Mhm.
I think a 50-50 was either me putting it on Glamora so it doesn't have that 4 times weakness to ground, or giving it to Victini, obviously because Victini's crazy powerful if you just give it a Terra.
Yeah. Oh, I think the other thing is a stronger grass type would have benefited this, just
Yeah.
because like um, the bulky water grounds, the water absorb users, those are the ones that could stop all three of those big guys up there. And what do you have to kill that? You have an Eldegoss, so
Yeah,
like
that's fair. As soon as I got Palafin, Zeraora, and Victini, I really didn't care much for a grass type until it was like towards the end, and I was realizing I'm like, there's a couple things I can't really touch, and I feel like that's a lot of teams, but like again, it's kind of obvious with mine, especially with
mhm.
dragons. Dragons are not really a fan of my team. It's not gonna be fun to face dragons with this team, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I guess I mean you have Grimmsnarl, but
I mean, yeah, that and
uh,
Fast Noivern. I feel like that's a good dragon type to have if I'm scared of dragons, so something to hit
yeah,
hard.
fair enough.
Alright, so the next team we have on here is going to be the Houston Gastros with Ursaluna Blood Moon. That is Terra. I messed up there. And I will
Yeah.
say it 1,000 times. I regret this. I regret
I don't.
forgetting about this 1,000
Yeah,
times
so
over.
this is the way this league works. I mean, you all know the people who are playing who are probably watching this. 20 points unrestricted Terra. Except for the Mons that are Terra banned, which Blood Moon was not for some reason.
Which makes it the best Terramon in the draft.
Oh, easily. No, this is this team I haven't really looked at this team all that much, but I'm looking at it now and I am terrified. Ursaluna Blood Moon is horrifyingly scary to face, especially that it's Terra. Um, I know this is Doja's team, right? I'm not tripping.
Yes, correct.
Okay, yeah, I know he. I believe he joined VC and was wondering what to pick to keep his speed tiers healthy, which means that he's thinking about it. Which I'm looking at it now, and it shows that he was thinking about it because they're really staggered like they should be. Um, Plenty of hazard users, Deoxys defense. Um, Momentum, you got plenty of Volturn all over this team, and by plenty of Volturn, I just mean his strong mons have Volturn. I
His
mean,
team is so specially like invested. Like just looking at Gengar, Tatsugiri, Typhlosion, and then you have Primarina,
oh, you're
Ursaluna,
right.
Rotom. So much special. Like one special wall can just kind of take this down a notch. Because Corviknight's really not going to do much, and then all you have to do is just fear Meowscarada and Scrafty at that point.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the sort by the average stats down there. I see attack
Yeah. HP and attack are not that
75,
high.
77, yeah. Well, I mean HP makes sense because I mean you got these bulky boys. Like you got like does Deoxys defense really need that high in HP stack? But attack being so low is just funny to me.
Yeah. It's just the fact that
Um,
other than Ursaluna, he doesn't really have anybody over HP, a lot of HP, because everybody's a special attacker.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of these guys are still bulky. Like Corviknight's really difficult to get through. Prim has plenty of survivability. Same with Rotom. Um, Scrafty gets Intimidate. Tatsugiri is it's Tatsugiri, but
And
it does the
also,
best.
to add on to the what type of terrors we're using and everything like this is also through a legacy league too. The only thing that is banned is Swagger and I believe Hidden Power. Those are the only 2 things we have banned in this league.
Yeah, so which is
There's a there's a,
understandable.
there's a few other, I just can't think of it on top of my head.
Hmm.
Obviously, like obviously we don't have Shed Tail, we don't have Revival Blessing, none of those weird things, but more of the legacy talking about like we have Pursuit and everything like that as well.
This feels like a Team Envy would draft. I'm not even gonna lie to you,
Oh my
which is a
gosh.
compliment.
Envy's in his evil arc now. That's
This feels exactly like it. Without I would say without Deoxys defense, this is just straight up an MV draft, and with he'd probably get a bit more physical attack with lead. Hey, that's not an insult. That's a.
I love
This team
MB.
is really scary. I don't want to face it. This attack, like overdraft, is a bit of a concern, but considering he still has really strong. Meowscarada is just really strong. Protean.
It's just the
You could
fact that his
Bandit. It's
it's
super
just
fast
his
for no reason.
it's just the fact that his dragon type is pretty much on par with his fairy type in both being a special attacker, and I don't really I'm not really a fan of it. I don't really
Yeah.
I don't really like Tatsugiri being in here with Primarina. I feel like there's like there has to be a different dragon at least.
Well, I
It's
feel at least for drafts, I don't really think if you have a strong enough core, I don't think you need a dragon. I feel
hmm.
like Tatsugiri was just taken because it's fast enough. It gets Draco, that's cool.
It
Um,
yeah, it helps that in between speed tier. It doesn't I don't think anything's more than just 15 speed away, which is pretty good. He's keeping
mhm.
everything pretty much at least something can run Scarf if it really needs to in this scenarios.
Oh, and Storm Drain's nice because there is just a tad bit
You know
of
what?
water, you know?
Yeah,
Meowscarada's a little frail. Prim doesn't
I'll
want
take
to take too
that Storm
much.
Drain, yeah. Typhlosion and Ursaluna being on the same team, like you need somebody that can at least like help that out a bit.
Hmm.
If you wanted to bring them at the same
Well,
time specifically, just specifically for that. I like that.
I'm looking at that type chart. That is beautiful. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Oh my
Only
gosh.
green.
No, I actually have a draft. It's not fast enough. I think the fastest is like Boltund on there, but like it was a draft I had that I got to the semifinals and I misclicked. That
Oh,
whole overall weakness was just all green. No gray at all. It was just all green.
nice.
I made the perfect draft. And I lost because I misclicked with Tapu Lele.
Tough.
Yeah. Never gonna win a semifinals game, but who cares?
Eh.
Next we have Sylvestron, which, oh my god. I don't like this team at all. Just
Yeah,
the
you
fact
picked this week one.
yeah, just the fact that there's just no reason for him not to bring any of these mons at any point except Quilladin. Fuck you, Quilladin. Oh shit, wait, I can't say that. That's our one PG-13 warning. So he has Dragapult, King Gambit, Togekiss, Megalopunny. Those four can just come each week if they really wanted to. Moltres, Blastoise, Azel. Just amazing support with Blastoise being able to either be a great rapid spinner or just a shell smash sweeper. Which I don't even think you really need to focus on Blastoise being a shell smash sweeper unless you really need it to be.
I think it's just one more threat because at the
Exactly.
end of the day, if Blastoise shell smashes and it takes like a mon and a half with it, that opens up the field so much for Polt, Gambit, Mega Lopunny, even like something like a nasty plot Azelf, or even just a surprise Pikachu. Like
Him
this
having
team has so much threats. It's insane.
Yeah, him having Dragapult, King Gambit, Megalopunny, and Blastoise all as late game cleaners is just ridiculous. And then not only that, the fact that he has Sandaconda and Weezing is just crazy bulk. Azelf has some bulk, but it's a really good lead as well. Nothing's really outspeeding a lead Azelf. It's just there's just a lot to go on with this team, and there's just way too many threats to even think you can even try to one-shot these things is not really imaginable at this point.
Yeah.
These will punish you. This is a team that will punish you for a misplay.
There's so many fun little quirks you could do. Obviously, Pikachu's in the back there. 1 point somehow, but he did it. Sandaconda can do so many things. Don Mephisto's been showcasing it in SPL, and
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah, Terror Dragon skill shot has been just going off lately, and
Moltres and
I'm just not a fan of it. It's way too good at this point.
Moltres and Togekiss are both strong defoggers. You got King Gambit if all else fails, and you also got Polt. Polt is always scary. Okay, it doesn't matter if you have a built-in answer. He's still terrifying to face. He's so quick, and he can do 50 different things.
Yeah, it's the
And
fact that
even
I do
then,
have my Zero Aura, and I'm still scared of it, even though I'm going to outspeed. I already know that Dragapult can still kill me if he really wants to.
yeah, and Mega Lopunny is always there too, just in case.
Yep.
Just in case.
The fake out you turn spam. That's gonna be fun.
No, I'm gonna expose this real quick. I was mocking you with this team, and oh my god, I was having the time of my life. This team is so fun to
It
use.
is so beautiful. This is all right. I'm gonna say it. This is my top 5 team. This is one of my top 5 teams already.
Oh no,
Uh,
this is I think I told you this already, but this is one of the few teams that I would switch my draft for. I love my draft a lot this season, but
mhm.
I would take this one. I think it's even if people look at this and they don't think it's as good as some of the others, I think it's probably one of the most fun drafts you could possibly take here.
It's literally one of those drafts that it's like there's no reason one of these things cannot come to a game. No matter what the matchup is, it seems like something can always come in and be a threat.
Except
I
Quilladin.
really don't know what Quilladin's doing here, honestly. That's the only, I'm gonna hate on Quilladin. Quilladin has spikes. That's literally all it has. It has no support, no stealth rocks, toxic, defog, rapid spin, none of that on the right side that you see down there. Also, ignore electric train. I just didn't know what else to put there. But other than that, Quilladin is just something that just takes ice damage, basically.
We're gonna say all this, and then he's gonna bring Quilladin and completely
He's
wall
gonna
something out one of these weeks.
he's gonna bring Quilladin like week 2, and then it's gonna get 3 kills, and then we're gonna have to make a mid-season PR apologizing to Quilladin.
I'm gonna have to, yeah, I'm gonna have to fill out the Quilladin apology form.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna make one. If Quilladin does amazing, we're making one.
Yeah.
So we have Mount Moon Umbreons, which is Fuego.
Ah.
This team is interesting.
See, okay, so he took Walking Wake round 1, right?
Yeah.
And halfway through my draft, I was like, I need a strong rocker because he is going to pick Zard Y. There is no way he doesn't take Sun. And then he didn't take Sun, and I was like, okay, well, guess my Garganackle's gonna do something else. But
like if we went into
doesn't
Walking
mean-
Wake, if we went into Walking Wake, Urshifu single, and then Zard Y, oh my gosh, that would be ridiculous to face.
Yeah, that doesn't mean this team is any worse. Those first 4 are incredible. Everything else is just kind of there, but those first 4 are incredible. So, man, I don't even know what to say. Urshifu single and Spectria work really well together. Terra Zygarde it's just terrifying. Terra.
It's just the fact that he has no way to... Oh, you know what I could have replaced Electric Train was Baton Pass. I could have put that instead.
That would have been smart.
Yeah, I looked at it and I saw Floor just didn't have Baton Pass. I'm like, oh, where are you at? But no, it's just the fact that you have 3 Pokemon that are automatically weak to Fairy as your first 3, and they're all your main attackers, and then everything else in the back is usually just used for bulk or momentum.
I just don't. But I mean, he did cover it with getting so many goddamn Fairy resists. Registeel, Crobat, Crocolore, Florges is
as
not.
Soon as I
no
said something,
Fairy is breaking Florges.
As soon as I said something, he was like, "All right, bet, watch this."
Yeah. But I mean, to be fair, those mons aren't the strongest. I think the bigger one is gonna be, Terra Resist Fairy Zygarde is gonna be the big one. D-Dance. Yikes. I mean, there's a reason he poured pretty much all his Terra into Zygarde, right? And Crocolore is there too, but I mean, at the end of the day, what's more worth terroring? Zygarde with D-Dance substitute, or just defensive Subglare, or Crocolore?
It's just one of those things.
I think I can make that decision pretty easily.
Yeah, it's just more one of those things where it's like, if people put pressure on this team, it's not gonna have a good time because it only has 2 different ways to get rid of it. So what are you telling me? You're gonna tell me you're gonna have Floor just run Defog each week, or you're gonna tell me you're gonna run Crobat each week? Just to have Defog. Yeah. You're not gonna have. Look, Floor just is not a defogger, and I can tell you that for sure because I am. Oh my god. My display capture was not correct. You motherfucker.
Huh?
My display capture was not correct, but that doesn't matter because I can.
But I mean, to be fair, those mons aren't the strongest. I think the bigger one is gonna be, Terra Resist Fairy Zygarde is gonna be the big one. D-Dance. Yikes. I mean, there's a reason he poured pretty much all his Terra into Zygarde, right? And Crocolore is there too, but I mean, at the end of the day, what's more worth terroring? Zygarde with D-Dance substitute, or just defensive Subglare, or Crocolore?
It's just one of those things.
I think I can make that decision pretty easily.
Yeah, it's just more one of those things where it's like, if people put pressure on this team, it's not gonna have a good time because it only has 2 different ways to to get rid of it. So what are you telling me? You're gonna tell me you're gonna have Floor just run defog each week, or you're gonna tell me you're gonna run Crobat each week just to
That
have
is,
defog?
yeah.
You're not gonna have
Hazards are tough.
Floor just is not a defogger, and I can tell you that for sure because I am. Oh my god, my display capture was not correct. You motherfucker.
Huh?
My display capture was not correct, but that doesn't matter because I can actually fix that later. So who cares? Keep talking.
You have the audio?
The display capture was for the second one, but not for the first one, so the pictures never popped up.
Oh.
But it doesn't matter because again, I could just fix that. I know
Yeah.
what to do.
As long as you have the audio, we're chilling.
No, yeah, we have the audio. We're good, I promise.
Cool.
Okay, I kind of freaked out for a second. I'm like, oh wait, nobody's looking at anything. Okay, but on your guys' side, it won't be a problem. But on our side, there was nothing showing for you guys for about the 19 minutes that we had. But no, with this being also said, I don't really like the Sorry, let me fix this. I don't like the fact that he doesn't have spikes, doesn't have toxic spikes, no rapid spin. All you have is your 2 defoggers. Florges is not really a defogger, especially with me. I feel like I could say this out of anybody. I feel like Florges is not a defogger. I feel like it's the same thing with the Dutch saying Scizor is not a defogger. Like, it's just one of those things. You just don't really use it for that scenario.
No, I think the hazard control on this team is quite frankly shit.
Yeah, like there's more of a chance. There's more of a chance that you run Calm Mind Florges than you run Defog Florges.
Yeah, no, because I mean, I think Fuego's gambit here was that he has so much offensive presence that he wouldn't need hazards. But the problem is that the defog is so lacking. Because I can understand taking the gamble that you're not going to need Stealth Rocks, you're not going to need Spikes. Because, I mean, to be fair, those first 4 Pokemon are known for just one-shotting things. They're setting up and sweeping things. But at the same time, something like a Choice Band or Shifu Single could really benefit from Rocks. So it'll really depend on how he plays it. But I do have a problem with the severe lack of defog. Because this means that pretty much Crobat or Florges, one of those two has to come every week. And they have to run defog, which, I mean, you were saying before, Florges is not really a defogger. I will disagree. I think you could fit it on Scizor, but Florges is not supposed to do that. Florges is supposed to be a wish passer. Crobat, Crobat is not that good, man.
I mean, you could. I could definitely see it coming a lot of weeks for defog, but like again, who are you sacrificing then? Because you're gonna sacrifice one of your top 3 to not come at least once a week just so Crobat can come in. Because you're gonna need Registeel, or you're gonna need the speed in Spectrier, or you, if you're not bringing Crobat either. So like, if you don't bring Spectrier, you're bringing Crobat, or you're bringing both of them to have top speed. Or I'm interested in seeing what he does, but again, it's the fact that not only that, but he has 1 Volt Switch and 1 Flip Turner too. So it's not, he has his 2 U-turners, but again, it's Crobat as one of them, which is gonna obviously it's probably gonna have like dual Wing Beat, some poison move, defog, U-turn, or like instead of dual Wing Beat, Roost, defog, U-turn. Like it's gonna be a very support Crobat, which I don't.
Team seems very read heavy.
Yeah, like he's gonna need a lot of prediction reliant on this team. I'm not a big fan of it, honestly. I think it's again, I've seen Fuego use his team at CLDL. He did pretty good with it. I loved it, but I just feel like this is not it especially for a 20-man draft. I feel like he had a plan going in. He found out that the plan probably won't work, and then he freaked out and built this.
Well, see, I think he just saw so many mons not getting taken in a 20-man and went, "Oh, I should get those," without fully considering how they would work on a team together.
Yeah, I just don't think his team synergizes well in the beginning.
It's the most top-heavy drafts, I think, of all the ones here, easily.
Yeah, I was scared. I was scared of mine being
that. Benefit.
Yeah, I was scared of mine being top-heavy, but
well, I think it was original, but I think in Grace you fixed it up a little bit.
I rounded it out a good bit. I got exactly what I was comfortable with. Like, I need at least the mons I know how to use. It also doesn't help that he doesn't have any. Man, what is this special? He has good special attacks, but he has only 2 physical attackers, Zygarde and Urshifu.
Well, Registeel can do its thing.
Yeah, but that just 1 special wall is just not it for you. Yeah.
No, this is definitely going to have to play like a hyper offense team.
Yeah.
I
I don't
think
like
in
it.
order to get wins. Hopefully he does well with it though. It looks
Yeah.
fun.
And then we have Ninja's team, which Ninja solely survives on the fact that Screamtail exists, because he is something else with Screamtail. This team goes straight, as we were talking about earlier, just straight up heavy offense, and then goes into Screamtail, Mega Sableye, Shaman, just straight defensive core.
Mm-hmm.
I love
This is the most ninja looking team, I swear to God.
I love it though. Like I don't know what is bad about this team, honestly.
The speed tiers are pretty. I'm not a big fan.
I mean, from 70 up to 122, it looks good. 65 up to
Yeah, but
122, but that's it.
Screamtail, and Shaman are not running speed. I'm gonna tell you that much.
Yeah, Screamtail is gonna be there specifically for what it needs to do.
And Komodo is a setup, so like I'm not. I mean, it's okay, but I'm not the biggest fan of the speed tiers. I think this draft is super defensive, ultra mega defensive.
Oh yeah, easily.
And I don't know how I feel about that because I'm not a big fan of defensive drafts anymore. I used to be a big fan, but it's been a while. I don't know. I don't really know how well Melmetal and Kamo are supposed to support Greninja. I don't really know how well Kamo is supported on this team in general. I don't know what Melmetal is supposed to do in general, especially Terra, besides just being a defensive Terra, right?
Unless you want to go straight for the double iron head bash, Terra
It's a
steal on
very
that.
interesting team. I feel like the way I would describe this is it's a lot of really good Pokemon put together that kind of work. You know, it's not the most synergy, but it's not like it's terrible either. Don't get me wrong. I still think this is a pretty all right draft.
If I'm correct, Screamtail has Baton Pass, but again, we just don't know about it.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think it has Baton Pass if I'm not mistaken. But it is, I do like the fact that it does have, like, Screamtail's probably running Wish Stealth Rock each week. Like, that's just, like, it could easily just be a straight support, not have a single move on it, and it's still dangerous. I like it a lot, honestly. I think the only thing I don't like about it is the fact that you have Defog and Rapid Spin only to one of each Mon, Volcanion and Kamala, respectively.
Oh, that's a good point.
I see no reason for Kamala to run Rapid Spin half the time unless you want it to be a bulky one, because of the fact that I would not be surprised at running Rapid Spin, and I feel like that's the reason why you have it. But it's more the fact that Kamala can easily just be a cleanup sweeper as well. There could be a lot of things for it, but I don't think you need.
At the end of the day, you're not bringing Kamala every week, you know? Which means Volcanion's going to have to be the defogger most of the time, if you run defog. Which I guess that's what Mega Sable is for. It's Magic Bounce, to stop that.
That is true,
so I
too.
guess he's gonna have to get Sableye Mega as soon as possible, just to make sure those hazards don't go up.
I mean, to be fair, he does have Fake Out on it. But there is Fake Out on that, so it's an easy Mega. It's an easy Mega, and then just switch out.
Well, I mean, not a switch in though, you know.
No, I know, but you could just do a turn 1, Fake Out, leave.
Yeah.
That could easily.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is he has 3 very good rockers. Defensive Kamo with rocks is fantastic. I'm assuming Screamtail is good with rocks, and we all know Mamoswine is good.
Yeah, lead Mamoswine. Oh my god, lead Mamoswine can be the most dangerous thing, because either one, he's just gonna set up rocks and then he's gonna leave, or two, he's gonna fucking hit you as hard as possible.
So because of that, I feel like this team relies more on the other team defogging away and getting rid of your hazards too. But at the end of the day, most drafts are just going to be scared to be clicking hazards at all, just because Mega Sable's right there. As long as it's Mega.
Yeah, as long as it's not Mega, they can go ahead. But once it Mega, it's going to be way too scary to do that.
Yeah. I think this is a very solid draft. I wouldn't say it's the best out there, but it's not like it's terrible either.
No, I could easily see in it at least minimum 5 wins out of the 9 weeks.
Oh no, yeah, no, this it'll do well for sure.
Oh my god,
Wonky
I like this team a lot.
It's I forget.
This one's Ashante.
Okay, I forgot how to pronounce it.
Ashante.
Yeah. Okay. This is the Blaziken draft and Mew. Oh god, this is bulk on bulk on bulk. Hey yo. All right, I'm gonna start off. I hate facing Tapu Fini. I have straight up trauma from facing Mega Venusaur. and I've never fought Speed Boost Blaziken in draft before, so this is kind of scary.
This is the first season that we've allowed Blaziken to have speed boost, and that's only because we put it at what, 19 points?
Yeah, you made it like very,
19
very
points.
expensive.
Yes, 19 points out of 20. And
Mm-hmm.
biggest
Speed
reason
breaks
one
or,
biggest
power breaks
reason
are gonna be-
yeah, exactly. Biggest reason is because of that, and two, we want to actually test it out to see if it's even broken enough. And I'm actually happy Ashante is the one that picked it up, because then we can actually see the true power of Blaziken. I do know I've seen Blaziken with speed boost, and like there's a couple times when Blaziken speed boost should have just died to people, but then they never put in like the right EVs, and it's like you're not preparing for Blaziken then if you're not putting in like the right attack EVs to actually, like, I saw a Corviknight versus a Blaziken. Blaziken got greedy, hit a Swords Dance in front of a Corviknight. Corviknight went for Brave Bird and hit it only for 89%, and I'm like, you did not invest anything into it. And this is after it took a single spike damage too, so it should have killed if it had any attack investment.
Yeah.
So I feel like as long as you don't let Blaziken, just set up right in front of you, there's a lot of ways you can deal with this as well.
Yeah. I think the Blaziken Finny Mega Venu core is crazy, and that this is in drafted order, right?
Everybody but agency is. Everybody but agency, because agency wanted to be different.
Okay. I just think it's crazy that, because I'm assuming the Blaziken Finny Venu was like planned out pretty early on, because that's an incredible fairy water grass, and it also covers the other things too. Like Mega Venusaur's sludge bombs take care of the bulky fairies that will probably end up stopping Blaziken. Like, it's crazy that they got the Blaziken, and then 3 Pokemon went by it before they got the rest of that incredible core. I think this whole team is scary. I think my only complaint would be it's really slow. But
yeah.
Speed Boost Blaziken. So at the end of the day, who's the real loser?
That is true. It also is the fact that I don't see any mon you can't bring. I like all of them, especially because of the reason that Linoon and Lucario or Terra, there's no reason that either of them can't come, because they will have their special uses. I don't see any reason why none of these can't come at least one a week. I don't really like Linoon in general because of how weak it is, but I believe this one has Belly Drum, right? Or am I mistaken?
I don't think so, actually.
Okay. So
I remember that being the case because Obstagoon couldn't use it.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's that great of a mon, but you know what? I'll talk about something else. I think one of the big problem with this draft is there's no strong Terra captain. With this generation relying, and this format that we're doing this draft in being so Terra is really, really good. There's probably going to be multiple weeks where Ashante's not even going to use Terra.
I have a big one. I have a big one.
Much stronger ones.
What happens when he faces a good ground type?
That's a great question.
Nothing can stop a good ground type on this team.
I mean, yeah, Finny, but it's going to take a chunk. So
but again, you don't want Finny to be the only thing taking it. And then not only that, Zapdos is not going to come in on a ground type all the time, because if the ground type gets a little antsy, it'll just throw in a Stone Edge.
Right. No, I think it'll have to be a mind game between Finny, Venu, and Zapdos, and immunities, and because Venu and Finny will both clap up a ground type if they don't get hit on the way in. Because if they, for example, if you like have some banded Earthquake mon, right? You could play the 50-50 with Zapdos, but if Finny or Venu come in on an Earthquake, Venu might live too, but Finny's not. So
honestly, whoever is watching this, do not do Banded Earthquake. Do not lock yourself in. Do the 2-shot Earthquake every time. Let them move around. Like, I feel like this is an obvious thing. Do not ban your Earthquakes in this situation. If you need to 2-shot something, 2-shot it.
I'm just saying as an example,
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, the ground weakness is really bad because we live in a time where everyone has a ground type. Everyone has Earthquake coverage. So like, or at least their draft does somewhere, and it's pretty strong. Like even this one has Iron Treads. Like, Yeah,
Their
so I
team.
the ground weakness is definitely a big problem, and I think it brings down the draft a little bit, especially because this seems so defensive centric with
Mhm.
Finny, Venus, Aptos, Treads. Even Mew is like a really bulky mon just because of its base stat. Like, yeah, the ground weakness is a bit of an issue.
It's also the fact that everything else basically can't touch this team at all except ground. I also feel like that's a plus as well. Like I feel like you put a lot of investment into everything else being pretty weak or being pretty strong, as in like dark can't touch you, steel can't touch you, dragon's iffy, you know. And then you go to ground, it's like, all right, ground's a big problem, but then ice can't touch you, grass can't touch you, like fighting can't really touch you on certain mons. Like two of the mons that are weak to fighting are just Terra as
Right.
well.
But that's the other thing is a strong Terra type lets you kind of patch up the weaknesses your team might have if you just
Exactly.
get it in early and Terra it into something else. But because the Terras here aren't that strong, like you're not bringing like is Terrafly Lucario really gonna be the answer to a strong ground type? I don't really think so.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like yeah, I think that's the ground weakness, and I think this draft being overall really slow. I know Blaziken's there, but it's not like Blaziken's gonna come in every single time I bring out my Fastmon, right? It's a little weak, but I understand that this is defensive centric. It's their play style. I hope they do well with it. Also, it's just funny seeing Mew on every single utility on the right
Yeah,
there.
but then it's literally filling out the utility core there.
Yeah.
All right, who do we got next?
I don't remember. Xander's
Oh,
team. All right,
yes.
this is the worst team.
All right, you're a liar and you know it. All right, we
I'm not a
know.
liar. He okay. He got 120 points,
Yes,
right? He didn't
yes,
spend 42 of them.
yes.
I'm looking at those base stat totals down there. Every single one is red, except for Spatak because Darkrai.
And Mega Sceptile.
Sure. No, I mean it's the weakest rev, but we all know Xander did it on purpose. So like, this isn't
Xander
news
wants to
to
prove
anyone.
something. Xander wants to prove that he
I
can
mean,
win.
week one already happened, and listen, he already
Yeah,
showed something. So
yeah. They played bad about around Darkrai. They just did not remember that Darkrai has coverage, and
oh
it's
no, yeah, because they looked at it on Paldea decks instead of looking at Nat Dex Legacy, where it gets quite literally every piece of coverage. I know because I've used it before.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not even know it was in Paldea.
I didn't either, honestly.
That's probably because of
No.
Legends Arceus.
This is the Darkrai featured team with some Pokemon. Palmont is no revival blessing, by the way, so we
No,
can't use that.
but it does have the what is it? Double Shock Fist.
Yeah, double shock.
That is a.
It's just electric type burn up.
I love it. I love that move. That move is really
Yeah.
fun. I also
Uh,
like how he has five Terra types, just going around, giving
yeah,
everybody a
because he
Terra.
had 42 points to blow. He could like if there was no limit on like because there's a 20-point base limit, right? If there was no limit, he would Terra every mon but Darkrai and Mega Sceptile because it's a Mega. But we don't live in that world, so I do think that does add a level of like a very unique strength to this draft that none of the others have, where you don't know who's gonna click Terra.
Yeah,
Like we
exactly.
could bring a team of 5 Terra types and Darkrai, and you would have no idea what's gonna click what.
If I see Frostmoth on there, that's my first assumption, but it most likely won't even be the one that Terra's too as well. So
Yeah, I mean you got Reverum who can Terra into Shift Gear. You got Furt with Tidy Up. You got Golem who can just Sturdy Explode, or just live and explode. Who knows? And then Terra Quiver Dance too. I don't think Typhlosion gets set up unless it's like Nasty Plot or something. But because it looks like it would, it looks like it's one high as a kite, but two it looks like a Nasty Plot user. So who knows? Um, but like, yeah, the uniqueness of having so many Terra captains is definitely a strength of this draft, and I think it's probably the only one, the only strength that I think this has
yeah,
really.
I love it though.
Besides, the speed is good. The speed tiers are beautiful. I love those a lot.
Even though I'm gonna be watching every game whenever they do come on, this is one that I'm always gonna be looking forward to, just to see what Xander does. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, no, it's just there's an overall level of weakness, but what are you gonna do?
Ah, it's the Gen 8 team. Gotta
Oh
love it.
god.
Oh, as you can see, Hisuian Quillfish has this little EV light because I feel like that's the only thing it ever needs to bring.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Ooh, this team has a lot of good and bad.
I don't want to fight this thing, man. This is the most Gen 8 OU. I'm getting a headache looking at this.
Oh my god.
Um,
It's like the good helps out the bad too. Like it's so balanced. Like every weakness has a strength to complement it with. This could be
I mean,
annoying.
all right,
Jeez.
it's pretty simple. It's bulk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whole lot of bulk, but it can catch you sleeping, right?
The
If you're
the bulk
sleeping
will
a
hit
little
back.
too much, yeah, if you're sleeping a little too much, Rillaboom will sweep with an SD. Hawlucha will come in. He's got 3 different Swords Dance users that can all fuck up your team, and then Magnezone too. Like,
Magnus. Oh
but
my
on
god.
top of that, a whole bunch of bulk and Heatran, Clefable, grassy terrain so they live longer.
Hair Avalug.
Avalug. Yeah. Oh, I do think this is another draft that suffers from not having a great Terra, which is again that's why it's the Gen 8 draft, right? It doesn't have it. It's not supposed to have a Terra. It's Gen 8 OU. Um, but at the end of the day, the sheer bulk of this is just ugh.
I feel like Toucannon can do really well with what is it called? Loaded dice? Loaded dice into no, it doesn't need loaded dice. It has skill link. Fuck it.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, forget it. It doesn't even need loaded dice. I was thinking of sheer force, but I don't even know if sheer force works with any moves that Toucannon needs.
I was gonna say I don't know if it does either. So no,
Honestly,
I mean
I really
we
have
all know
no.
Clefable's good. We all know Hawlucha's good in terrain.
It
Heatran
has
with
good.
oh.
It has good good hazard control, good hazards as well. Like it's gonna do its job.
Grassy terrain to stop Heatran from dying to an earthquake, and same with Magnezone too. This is just gross. I don't like looking at this.
It's I love it though. It's pretty good. I don't know if it's a top 5. I feel like there's a lot
I
of
don't think it is. I think there's a lot of like just draft weaknesses. I think like you just bring the first 5 mons and then pick whatever the hell you want. This is a fantastic ladder team, but I don't know. Agency might correct me on that. He's the ladder guy.
the UU ladder
I'm not a
guy, right?
ladder guy. Yeah, listen, I'm not a ladder guy. I wouldn't know. But in draft, I feel like there's a couple weaknesses. I think the
Yeah.
speed's the difference between Starmie and Rillaboom, and I don't even think Starmie's supposed to be speedy. I think normally he's supposed to be. Isn't he supposed to be a bit defensive?
It used to be speedy, but I think it now is defensive because of analytic.
Yeah, no one's gonna speed creep Hawlucha because it's just gonna get unburdened anyways.
Yeah.
So like, the speeds are a little not my taste, and no, I can't complain about the removal. They got to star me. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have. Ugh, this is just gross. Those are my complaints. I don't like looking at it. Here's Rain's team.
Yeah, this team is just something like, oh my gosh, just looking at this.
How he got Annihilate is that 9th pick is beyond me.
Yeah. This is a whole different thing.
So this is my week 1 matchup, so I can say a lot about this.
I think that's 10th pick actually.
Yeah. Chi and Pow and Annihilate together plus Terra Manaphy is an insane offensive trio. If you lose one thing to Chi and Pow, like you imagine you like you get one really bulky mon chipped down by Chi and Pow coming in over and over again, boom, Annihilate comes in and sweeps, and vice versa. Manaphy Terra, oh dear God, I don't know how. With Take Heart, Tail Glow, I think it gets agility, all that kind of stuff, and then to tear into whatever type it wants. Man. What else is there?
I mean, you have a really good defogger in Rodamo. Other than that, I don't know how I feel about Gligar. I'm not really a big Gligar fan. It's going to be carrying its Eviolite each week. It can easily just keep its bulk going with Roost and everything like that as well, but I don't know what else it would really do for this team. I feel like default Gligar could come each week though. I do like it. I do like the fact that it is Chien-Pao and Terra Manaphy. I feel like Terra Manaphy was one of those mons that I should have probably looked back over. I didn't know it got Take Heart until it was too late.
Yeah. Um, it's pretty clear in this draft that he picked the first 2 or 3, and then realized, oh shit, I gotta get some utility. And boom, Stealth Rock, Defog, Stealth Rock screens user. No, my criticism, yeah, I guess, there's not like, it's not like the defogger is really strong, but at the same time, he's got 2 different really, really good ones. So I don't think that's too big of a complaint. Same goes for Stealth Rocks. He just has 2 really, really good ones. Annihilate's there, but we all know Annihilate isn't running fucking Stealth Rocks.
I feel
So,
like it's a very good
um,
balanced team. I do like it a lot, though. I feel
no,
like
it's a very good balanced team.
it's one of those teams, again, like I said earlier, it's one of those teams that there's no reason that none of these can't come.
Yeah. These all have good options in any given draft, and I love the use of Terra on Guzzlord and Muck. I
Just to
think the
get rid
Terra
of
on this is
Guzzlord.
used perfectly.
Yeah.
This is because this is how I did my Terra as well. We'll look at that later, but I think the best way to use it is to get a good Terramon that you're probably gonna bring almost every week, and then your low tiers that like the Terra is not going to be that expensive anyways. Just get it Terra on them so they are still strong and have to be respected.
Yeah, exactly. I do like Guzzlord at least having a Terra choice because of the fact of him being 4 times weak to Fairy, and Fairy's going to be brought almost anywhere. Guzzlord is probably a top mon on this team, and I know it's a long shot, but like it's top mon on this team because of how bulky it is, and then also with it having one-on-one attack, it can literally just turn into a water type or a steel type if it really wants to, and then just go ahead and just hit as hard as it needs to.
Yeah, I think, well, if it was regular Guzzlord, regular Monk, I would say this is not that great, but with it being Terra, it makes every mon on this team viable, and I like it a lot.
I feel like this
I
team
think
could easily do work.
Yeah, because I like what Rayan did here. Instead of like building around Chi and Pao, he kind of just got a bunch of good Pokemon, and they kind of work.
Yeah,
So
it's a very
I think I
bulky
said that
team
about
though.
another draft earlier, but
Yeah, it's a very
this
bulky
one is
team
more
though.
so.
I like
Yeah,
it.
no, there's a lot of bulk, but at the same time, Annihilate, Chi and Pao, Sylveon still hits ridiculously hard. Manaphy always has to be respected. Rotomose got free Volt switches.
And
Yeah,
the fact that it got picked so late too for Chi and Pao is crazy. Also, just to let you know, we'll have to do 2 parts because I am being pushed out the door right now. So this will be part 1, and then we could do part 2 if that's cool, and then I could just stitch them up together quickly.
yeah, I don't care.
Alright, bet. So let's finish up with this one real quick. For some reason, Pheasantipity has no information on this stock, so if you do not see it on the right side, that is because for some reason it just does not appear. I have not found a way to fix it yet. But other than that, round 1 Gliscor is apparently good based on things I've been finding out lately.
Yeah.
Gliscor with spikes is apparently a new monster, and I just did not respect it until now.
This I'm trying to figure out how to word this without it sounding insulting, but this does just feel like a lot of good Pokemon just kind of thrown together and hoping they'll do well.
Yeah, I really don't. I really don't see the synergy, except the fact that I feel like Zoroark can easily just pull that synergy together of misdirection, and I feel like Nassim does like his misdirection and being able to play around how he feels like. Like if momentum goes bad, Zoroark comes in. All right, you're either fighting a Zoroark or you're fighting whatever Zoroark is transformed into, and it's just a mind game at that point.
One thing it's a little worrying is he didn't get any more defog or hazard or anything other than Gliscor. So he's basically, unless he doesn't want rocks, he's basically forcing Gliscor to be defog stealth rocks almost every week.
I mean, no, defog spikes actually, and then like earthquake roost or something like that, or
Yeah,
earthquake
I mean,
protect.
I've used Gliscor plenty of time. He's the
It
type
can
of
do a
mon
lot.
that, well, yeah, but it suffers a lot from 4-move syndrome, where you really want to run Earthquake, but you also want knockoff, and you also want U-turn, and you also want stealth rocks and defog and protect.
If I
So
had
like,
to choose his Terras, I would not choose Zoroark Kasui, and I would not choose
Woch.
Actually, no, I would choose Wo-Chien. If you specifically want Wo-Chien, he needs a Terra. But I would rather have Oricorio as my Terramon instead of Zoroark. I feel like Zoroark already with the 3 resist immunities is just way too good. Don't
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I've never really seen a draft like this before. I guess Gliscor and Cinderace kind of work together because they cover each other's weaknesses, but it's not like
Mhm.
Cinderace is the most bulky thing out there, you know? And it's not like the switch into a Cinderace is going to be an Earthquake user. It's most likely going to be the Water type to take the Pyro Ball, which Gliscor does not resist at all. So I guess having a little more is good for that. I guess having Regieleki's good for that, for more anti-water. But
Guja Hisui is perfect for it.
yeah, Goodra too.
Guja can easily set up with this team around it. This team, if Wo-Chien just gets a Leech Life or Leech Seed and then just goes straight into Guja or something like that. Not only that, but the fact that so many U-turns is beautiful. Like, this is literally just a team that can just move around when it needs to. It's I see nothing wrong with the fact that he made his team really bulky, but I do see the problem where it feels like, again, there's a lot of good mons together, but there's not really any mons that can protect each other. And
Yeah, the other thing is, I know the bulk is good and the U-turn is all right, but it's not like there's not like a lot of super strong U-turn in my opinion.
yeah,
I think Liberal Cinderace. Okay, so I know this gen is different, but is Liberal Protean still work where when you use it you get the stab with it or no?
you get the stab with it, but it's only during your
First part.
it's if whatever move you use that is outside of your typing range, you will change to that until you switch out and switch back in. So Cinderace can
Okay,
keep using Pyro Ball, and then it's like, all right, time to use U-turn, and then it will use
get the stab.
Libero to get the stab still. But
Gotcha.
if you use like it doesn't have it, but like say it has knockoff, it just uses that. It won't have its original stab anymore, like regular Libero.
Yeah. See, because Cinderace is a really strong U-turner. That's pretty
Mhm.
obvious. Regieleki is a really strong Volt Switcher. And I guess Fizzantipity can... I think it gets U-turn. I'm going to assume it gets
It
U-turn.
gets U-turn. Yes, that was one of the
Yeah, I'm
things, and I
assuming it's
don't know
pretty
if
good
it.
with Toxic Chain.
Yes. And I don't
But
know if it gets defog and all that. That's why I'm also like kind of disappointed in myself not being able to find that out as well.
that's like it. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, Regieleki's going to get eaten up by the ground type. If you don't bring a ground type while facing Regieleki, you're asking to lose. So...
I'm not gonna bring my Dawn fan.
that otherwise like the really only like super good U-turner is Cinderace, so like it's not like you're gonna get super tons of damage by just pivoting all over the place. Um, I mean it'll still be good because you can pivot, you could get that U-turn and then say send in Passimian and get a CC on something, or
Yeah.
he can U-turn again and send out Regieleki and maybe read the ground type, hard switch into something else. But is there no? Oh, yeah, that's kind of an issue. So I just noticed this now. Regieleki, right? Hardwalled by every ground type in existence. Water and grass beats ground, but he doesn't have a strong water and grass. It's just Aloe and Wo-Chien, which aren't about to like take away a ground type. They're just gonna kind of sit there while the ground type leaves. So I don't know if there's ever really gonna be a Regieleki win condition here with those weak mons, but or weak offensively. I mean, they're still super strong, but I yeah, that's just a kind of interesting thing I noticed.
Yeah. Honestly, I would not be surprised if this team does good. I don't think it's a top 5 build around team. I would not be comfortable using it myself, but I do see the way that I have practiced against Nassim all of last season just shows how much he understands what synergy is to him and how he feels it needs to work. It kind of reminds you of Xander as well. He just uses mons that he's comfortable using, and he knows that what their best strengths are and how he wants to use them. So I'm not gonna fault him for that at all.
Oh
I
no.
I do like comfortability over synergy. I feel like comfortability is way better than synergy in my opinion.
Yeah,
Uh
that's how I used to draft. I would just draft what I like to draft and I wouldn't think about it twice.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I mean, it didn't work out for me, but hey, I wasn't the best player back then, so
Yeah. But again, I feel like this team could use a different mon or two that it like I just really don't see a couple of these mons coming each week when it really needs to. Like
Hmm.
a lot of these mons want to come, but they're just gonna be overdoing it for their team at one point or another. Like Cinderace and Passimian can come in together, but then at that point, who's your team going to be built around? Because you're going to have Gliscor. You're probably not going to have a Lomalola that week. You're probably going to have a Regieleki, but then at that point, you're just now forcing yourself not to have what? Guja, Zoroark, or Wochian. You're going to force yourself not to. You're going to have a six Pokemon's syndrome.
Yeah, I see what you mean by that, but I do think it is also sort of a strength that this is probably one of the most balanced teams out there. Wherein
Yeah.
I look at this whole team, and it's a struggle to say, oh, that's the weakest Pokemon on the team. Oh, that's a low tier.
Yeah.
You know, like
Like,
if you just shuffled these mons and said, figure out the draft order, I probably couldn't be able to tell you outside of saying, oh, Oreo probably went close to last.
it's just more the fact that other than the other ones where the other two when I was saying the fact that oh any of these mons can come at any week, but it's like I feel like it's kind of a slight difference with this one. It's like which mon is going to be coming each week, but when you're actually building it yourself, and it's just like it's going to cause more struggle on trying to figure out what is actually the best move. But then and
Yeah,
again, if you do figure that out through that week, it's going to also be a crazy problem for your opponent not to be able to deal with what you already prepped for.
I think I think because the main strength of this, having so many like having such a balanced team versus the last time we kind of mentioned it, is
Mm.
like the opponent in this situation has to respect every mod on screen right now, which is going to be a lot for only having 6 Pokemon. So it's going to have to take a lot of narrowing down, a lot of thinking through, a lot of prep to really kind of be able to handle this facing this team versus a lot of other teams where you're probably just like, okay, that mon's shit, that can't come.
Yeah.
That mon is really strong in my team, I have to build an answer to it. With this draft, it's like every mon has its own strengths, and none of them are like really that weak. So they all have to be respected. They all have to be prepped for,
Yeah,
or like
I do
most
like
of the
it.
time, you know,
It's
unless you got like a really strong perk or
it's a
something.
top 8 team for me specifically just because of accountability. But other than that, I'm not too big of a fan of it, but I'm definitely gonna be interested in watching it just because it's definitely gonna be a strategy team.
Yeah, it'll
All
be
right,
interesting.
yeah. All right, that's gonna be it for today. I have to fucking go. Crashed.
All
God
right,
damn it.
so we have to start this part over,
Yeah,
huh?
let's go. Part two.
Oh,
All
all
right,
right. I'll
so
get my points out faster.
part two, agency. I'm sorry, we're gonna fucking blow through your thing again, but at least we know what we're gonna say this time.
Oh yeah.
But no, basically, sorry about that. Part two of part two is here because we apparently had a corrupted file just happen during recording.
Mm.
I've never seen that before, but okay. So basically, as we were saying before all that happened, agency, we love your team. It is at least a top 3 team to me. I love the double fairy, and as I was saying, the double fairy just they have nothing in common for what they can do, and that's what makes them scarier because just fairy types in general, it's like having 2 dragon types that don't do similar things. So it's already going to be a scary offense. This is going to be a scary defense with both Hatterene and its Tinkaton. Also, we do not have Paldean Tauros. I messed up. We do know it has 100 speed, I believe 130 attack.
Something like that.
Yeah, so
It's we all know what it does. It's fast.
it
It's
it's
water. It's
fast and
fighting.
strong. Yeah, it's strong. We love it. Um, throughout this team, it's just the fact that he has Iron Bundle in Quark Drive mode, which actually gives him the ability to get. I didn't say this the first time around. He is able to hold boots now, as long as Coco is alive.
Oh right. Yeah.
So Iron Bundle's biggest weakness is, rocks and all that. So if he can hold on to boots, he can literally just be a free mon with the power up boost each time it comes in. I see no fault in having those two as his first two, and then also Landorus, protecting Coco and everything.
No, I said this before, and I'll say it again. Like this team, it's not the like most bulky draft we've ever seen. Really, the only like dedicated bulk we have is like a Tinkaton or a Hatterene. But because he has Landorus Intimidate, it allows it skyrockets the survivability of the entire team. So it really helps with that, and it lets him get away with having a bit more of an offensive setup type of draft. With Hydreigon can run Nasty Plot as he's already shown. Coco can CM. Bundle's got Quark Drive. It doesn't need to worry about it. Adderine can CM, all that kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of different things this team can do. And I also mentioned that this just screams like a ladder team to me. Like like those first 4 Pokemon are like very, very good no matter what, and can pretty much are finding excuses more to not come to any game than to really come to a game in a given week, and with just 2 random feature mons that you would take on the rest of this team, like an Unburdened Sceptile or a Flareon that Terra's out so it can run a Flame Orb Guts. But
can you wait, I'm sorry, everybody that's listening, do you see who's in chat?
Yeah, no, I saw. I just didn't want to mention it, but
Ninja's in here with us, just chilling. We might hear a quack or two, but
yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. They didn't hear it, but All right,
Yeah.
love you, Ness. All right, so back to what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this screams like a team that you would take to ladder and go, I want every game to last 30 minutes or 30 turns or less. Like, I want a short, sweet battle where I can make predictions, I can set up, I can feature a low or mid-tier Pokemon and win with it, that kind of thing. It just feels that this whole team screams like, and I'm not just saying this because Agency did recently make into a Pokemon video with a UU team, but this screams like it's the making of a video.
And honestly, I hope we do get a video with more people in this league. I'm hoping that we at least have more like content in this league. I will obviously be doing that because I really want this to be the revival of PDL. Like, I know PDL's had like really good seasons and everything like this, but I want this to be the season. Like, I want people to have this season and be like, man, I'm happy, like I participated in this season, stuff like that. And this is just something I just really want to work on. And I hope everybody else that, even if you do see this and you are creating content, I will 100% support you in any way. I will sub. I will watch every video you post about this league. I am fully invested in this league and I'm very excited for it. This team, I really have no faults about it, honestly, other than the bulk. But again, as he said, you have Hatterene, you have the bulk in Tinkaton, you have Landorus for the physical side as well. It's not really like it needs anything else.
Yeah, I'm looking at that type matchup and I'm really trying to find like a problem that I would really have with it, and it's kind of a struggle. Yeah, because I mean everything that is like a problem. Like, I guess one of the things you could say is maybe Steel is a good matchup into it because he only resists Flareon. But then you have Terra Hydreigon, you have Intimidate Landorus, because let's be real, there's not many special Steel types that are really like that scary.
Magnezone.
Magnezone, yeah, but I mean,
you don't want to be 4 times. You don't want to be 4. Yeah, you don't want to be 4 times weak. Yes.
You have a lot of different answers for that.
Better have good luck with Tri Attack.
Yeah, and I mean, Bundle in Terrain is just so scary. Free Cork Drive, and then you could even just run Cork Drive Specs, Cork Drive Attack Specs, and then Hydro Freeze Dry, and something pretty much dies every time it switches in. It's
exactly.
This team is ridiculously scary.
Well, yeah, exactly. This team, I say, is a top 3 team. This team made me very scared of forgetting about Kyurem as a Terra. I don't think it's gonna be too much of a reason to ban it, but I would love to see it be the Heart Pool to be Heartopool? What the fuck do you say? I would love to see this team be a reason why we have to ban Terra Kyurem. I want to see what it can do, honestly. This team is very bulky, very strong, and honestly, the speed tiers are pretty well-rounded. I like it. I think it's a very smart team.
I think it's a very solid team. Urshifu Rapid's always really strong, and so I mean the feature is obviously Urshifu Rapid, Kyurem, right?
Yes.
And I guess Kartana fits in there too. He's strong too. Don't forget about him. At least offensively, those are the big threats. Kyurem is going to be ridiculously difficult, especially with Terra, to figure out a dedicated solution to. And on top of that, while you're worrying about that, you have to worry about Urshifu and Kartana both punching holes in your draft. And what I really like about this team is that Kartana and Urshifu Rapid both struggle with water absorbs and grass types. That's the two big switch-ins normally for those. And he's got great answers to both. Kirim runs through those bulky water ground types that may have water absorb because he's got freeze dry. And for those grass types, good luck taking a hurricane. Like it is. I do think those first 5 all work pretty well together, even though Kartana and Urshifu Rapid do kind of do similar things. I think it's a very, very solid core.
I think this team was really good all the way through until Mega Tyranitar was picked, and not because I'm saying Tyranitar is not a good fit on this team, I'm more saying I'm interested in seeing what you do with Tyranitar. But there is one thing I said. I really just want to see a time when Mega Tyranitar does come. Slowking Galar still has it has the chilly reception. It chilly receptions back into Mega Tyranitar so it can reset its stream.
Yeah, but I mean, one thing is because this is Legacy, it can
Yes.
just run Teleport instead.
Yeah, but chilly reception, it sounds more fun.
Yeah. No, I'm also, I guess it's just a Pursuit Trapper, really. I don't
That's true.
know what I guess the big Psychic worry would be a fast Psychic that could kill Urshifu, or a physical one that might be hurting Galar. So I guess that's a good check to have.
I mean, if
But
you
other
want
than
the
that, I
strongest pursuit, I mean, if you want the strongest pursuit in the game, I think Mega Tyranitar is definitely the answer.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So I don't. Yeah, I guess maybe that's what it does. But outside of that, I don't really see an option besides just being Mega Tyranitar and being a scary, like, kind of bulky kind of threat like regular Tyranitar is.
Yes.
I do think the one sort of weakness with this draft is, I think this is the first team we've encountered that drafted the minimum, drafted 9.
Yeah.
And because of that, there's really like it's not gonna be too difficult to predict what's coming to any given battle. So it will allow Davy's opponents to kind of not have to worry about so much and kind of consolidate Pokemon, so they have more options in battle.
Yeah, exactly. And I also do like the fact that even though he has 4 Pokemon weak to he has 4 Pokemon weak to ground, one of them can Terra though, and then 3 Pokemon that are weak to fighting, but one of them can Terra. It's not like as if those specific 2 things are his weaknesses, because he could just Terra out of them. And most likely he will Terra cure him into like either a pure dragon or a steel type, which again could still be weak to fighting in ground, but it really depends on his matchup, and Kyurem could just run away. I believe it gets Dragon Dance. I don't believe it gets Scale Shot though.
No, yeah, I do see like a fast fighting would be kind of a threat to this team because most fast fightings are they're CC knockoff or they're like bulk up Drain Punch, right? So that is a threat because at the end of the day, you don't want Torrent T getting knocked off because let's say it has boots, now your regenerator is basically null.
Sorry about that.
I guess you could have Static Belly Bolt, which would help and Terra out of it, but that is kind of a threat to this team, though. I actually don't know where I'm going with this. That is just kind of a threat to this team.
Yeah.
But there are ways to deal with it. Of course, Torrent T, if it gets knocked off, that doesn't mean it immediately dies. Static Belly Bolt can stop those things as well.
Yeah. I do. I mean, other than Torrent T's gonna be the dedicated defogger, it's not like it doesn't want to be a defogger. It's easy, just a 4th move to put in. I think it's just the fact that Torrent T, if he has a bad matchup, it's gonna be really hard for him to defog, and it has to be a team that can both stack and be a threat to Torrent T, which is very rare to come in between. But it's more the fact that it's his only solid defogger. Kartana can do it, but it's no reason needs to, especially when you have something better like Torrent T. But those 2 only being your removers, I feel like some teams can start abusing that if they really need to.
Oh, and one other thought I just had was this draft is like a little on the slower side, just in terms, like, of course Torrent T is really quick, but because of the lack of defoggers, it's probably not always going to run that speed.
But he does have 2 Pokemon that can Dragon Dance.
Yes, that's true as well. Though Mega Tyranitar with 1 Dragon Dance, it still outspeeds. It does not outspeed a lot of things.
I mean, it outspeeds Dragon Bolt, doesn't it? Or is 80 speed? Is that 80 speed?
So. I don't think so.
No? Oh, okay. I might be wrong with it. It's either 80 base speed or 70 base speed outspeeds Dragon Bolt with 1 Dragon Dance, but I don't remember at this moment. Because it's the same as Gardevoir. It outspeeds by like 1 point.
Yeah, no, Gardevoir's 80 speed.
Okay, yeah, then it is 80 speed. All right, so yeah, maybe even with 2 Mega Tyranitar Dragon Dances, if you somehow let Mega Tyranitar get 2 Dragon Dances, I feel like that's your fault.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a team
Yeah.
that Crooked's not allowed to talk about because fuck him. Dude, I am jealous of this team.
Yeah, so I'll kind of just go, I made my own video on this, but I'll just kind of
Yeah.
go over briefly what my drafting experience was. So I was pick 13, and I mean, my plans were pretty much just, we're either building around a really strong dragon type, or we're building around a really strong fairy type, and then getting like a nice dragon on the side. And the plan was always going to be having either Galarian Slowking or regular Slowking with Beartic. So of course that ended up making it into the final product. But when Iron Valiant somehow fell to me in 13th, I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to not take it, right?
Exactly. You're not gonna let it fall farther.
Right. So then, of course, I got Mega Scizor to help with that. And then that's when my plan changed to regular Slowking, because then Mega Scizor doesn't just get railed by special fire types. I have it like just a straight up dedicated switch in. Roaring Moon was somehow still on the board when it got back to me. I plan on getting a Dark Dragon. Hydreigon was kind of my first pick, but it got taken, so I went with the backup Roaring Moon. And when I was making the Garganacl pick, I kind of just wanted something that I could just deal with any sort of threat without really having to predict it's there, since I'm not exactly familiar with this generation. So I got Garganacl, and now I can Terra it into anything. So whenever there's a big threat on someone else's draft that I'm like, I don't really know how to deal with that, I'll just use Garg. Pretty simple.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the more the fact that well, 2 things. One, I don't really like the fact that you don't have any heal bell or aromatherapy, but again, you do have guard, but it's more the fact that you have to kind of like predict that sometimes. But it's more the fact because personally I would like to keep Mega Scizor burn free if I could. But again, just because of simple just looking things up, you could find out who does have Will-O-Wisp and burn potential as well. So you can just keep Mega Scizor safe as that way. Other than that, I really see nothing wrong with this team. I see a Chili Reception Slowking into a Beartic, which could be a really fun thing. Shell Smash Cargo at one point, that might be a fault to me, but we will see. I basically told him, just prove it to me. Just prove how many points he should actually be. And that's a lot of the 1 points. If the 1 points can show up, then we will put them higher, obviously. The only 1 point mon I don't really care about right now was Ferret, and that's only because no matter how many points he was, Xander was going to grab him anyways. Like,
yeah. So, I mean, just kind of like from my perspective, some of the things with this team, some of my bigger regrets, I don't like my Raichu pick. I don't think it does much for this team that Shocks doesn't already kind of do for me.
Yep.
That was supposed to be Bramblegast instead, giving me a nice grass and a rapid spin blocker and another spinner, but that got taken. So instead, I just went with another 4-point that had a nice speed that kind of worked for my team and was also kind of a threat. Like, you can't just not expect Raichu to come every week. Like, you have to at least think about it a little bit.
Nah, I'm gonna ignore Raichu. I don't care about its 90 attack and 90 attack.
Okay. And Terra Mag Cargo, it was originally going to be Terra Volbeat in 1 point because just Prankster Encore. But as soon as I saw that and it getting Shell Smash, one note, I don't think if the Terra rules were different,
Mhm.
I think this would have been fine in 1 point, because Mag Cargo with Shell Smash on its own is not really that great. But because of the way the Terra rules work, where when I make this thing Terra, it doesn't cost me anything extra. Making this thing a Terra makes it far superior to any 1 point, and I'd argue a majority of the 2 points as well.
You know, next time we're gonna make it ×2 whenever you Terra.
Fair enough, honestly.
But no, I like the rules. I'm honestly, because of the person that made the doc from what is it called? I'm sorry, Smogon, the person that made the doc, and we just fixed up the doc so we can put 20 people on and put these new mons on and everything like that. So basically, it was anything pre DLC was on here with only 16 teams, and it was like it was really hard to change everything on here, so I'm pretty happy with me and Will's work to fix up this dock and everything like that, and hope everybody likes it too. We, again, I already said it in chat, but we are going to be putting a matchup thing to where it's gonna look kind of like when you see it on this dock itself, when you have your matchup center. We're gonna have that too, and we're gonna try our best to do it for where each week goes through. So that's our goal. It's gonna be, I'm gonna love the dock after we fix that up as well.
Yeah, one other thing I'll address is I'm noticing now I have a shit ton of fighting weaknesses, but at the end of the day, a lot of those are one, not coming, two, they're Terra captains. One of them's Sylvally, which I'm never bringing normal
Yeah.
Sylvally. And the others I'm never gonna get hit by
Yeah,
fighting
so
types.
either
I'm not switching in roaring moves
Yeah,
with
so
fighting
either you
types.
have Garganackle, who is a Terra, Beartic Terra, Macargo Terra, or a Sylvally, which is not technically any type right now. Yeah, so
Yeah.
your only fighting weakness is technically Roaring Moon.
Yeah, I have no. I love my team. I'm biased because it's my team, of
Yeah.
course. I
I
don't know
think
if
you
it's
feel-
the. I don't think it's probably. I would never ever say my team is the strongest, but I think it's. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it, which is the goal at the end of the day because, that's what I want to do in draft.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And I really like the fact that you do have good U-turners, good Volt Switch, the fact that you do have Sandy Shocks. And you asked me like a quick second, he's like, what does Sandy Shocks even do? I'm like, he puts down rocks, puts down spikes, he leaves, he does damage, that's all he needs to do. He's pretty fast too. He's like, alright,
that's all I need.
bam. Like he does anything he needs to do. Like he's pretty frail, but again, like he will hit hard and he will also just do what you need him to do and he's gone. That's all he needs to do. Just do one thing and leave.
Yeah.
Oh my god. How do
Shook's team.
I'm mad at you for this team.
Yeah, there's my
Because
Bramble guy.
I fell in love with I fell in love with this team and then I fell out of love with this team because he dropped Tapu Bulu for Blissey. And I was so happy seeing Tapu Bulu with Iron Moth because I just really wanted to see an Iron Moth just go off with nothing
Very
to fail.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally would have liked to see Bulu. I wonder if it's a matter of Iron Hands doesn't really it just doesn't have enough attack for him that he's willing to risk putting up terrain for his opponent, or if he just really needs a Pokemon to get chipped down so Iron Moth can come in. Because I'm assuming Iron Moth is just Volcarona at home, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Or just a Zygarde sweep. I
Because
This
Iron
draft
Moth does
is so
not
weird.
get Quiver Dance, but it basically gets anything else.
Right. This draft, it feels like it was like taken backwards almost, because I feel like the Jirachi Mandibu's Enamorus is like being in the back feels so weird to me, because that feels like a first
Yeah.
3 pick type of thing.
Yeah, if we're in Gen 8, yeah.
Yeah, this is really I guess since I'm just not really sure what to think about this team right now, I'll go with the one big complaint that I have. As a Barraskewda aficionado, I hate seeing it without rain. I
Yeah.
really, really hate seeing it without rain. I don't think it's that good without rain. It's actually like, it does not do. You would think, oh, 123, it's pretty fast. Oh, I should be good. No, the rain is really, really helpful with that Pokemon. So, I really am not a fan of seeing it without rain. You can go ahead, please prove me wrong. But personally, like I'm just not a fan. So
Basically,
that's all.
any fast move would, any priority move would just basically fuck up Barraskewda's life.
I mean, it would do it anyways, but I just feel like with
It'll do
rain,
it to
the
itself.
boost on power, like Barraskewda is a cleaner, and it's the type of Pokemon that you send out and then you Banded Flip Turn in the rain and do a shit ton of damage. But without rain, you're not really gonna do all that much damage because Flip Turn's not a strong move. So yeah, I don't know. It's an okay pick without rain, but
Honestly,
please prove me wrong. Show me what it can do without rain.
other than that, I would wish to see, like, for some reason, like, Terra Pincurchin. I feel like that'd be fun. Terra Pincurchin, help out Iron Moth and Iron Hands.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
that's not a serious suggestion, but that just sounds fun, honestly.
Yeah, I do like the synergy of 2 extremely strong flying types going with 2
Yes, 3.
very weak to ground mons. Yeah, but is Masquerain really that strong? I know with Terra it's good, but
I mean,
I'm
it
talking about like,
could be.
Mandibuzz and Enamorus are really, really strong with just in general.
Yeah.
Masquerain could be, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be a great switch in. Going that I feel like that goes ridiculously well with I guess Avalok too, who's weak to ground. Um, Iron Moth, and Iron Hands getting railed by EQ, having a Mandibuzz and an Enamorus just to mix up is a pretty cool combination.
Just have Terra Jolteon with double kick, and it just destroys this team.
I guess. That's a very specific thing, though.
Whoever has Terra Jolteon, that's your suggestion right now. And yes, I love this team. This team is top 5, definitely.
This is Oshawott. Okay.
How many times have I said top 5? Is this my 4th time? I think I only get one more top 5 suggestion. Or say.
Oh my god, that is 0 utility. that is 0 pivot. This
is a draft I would draft, and then remember I have no utility for switching out at all, and I'll be like, it's good enough.
Okay, I'm not. Let me make this clear. This is not an insult. I just was like kind of stunning to me because most of every draft has had a lot of Pokemon in that right hand bottom corner there in that util box, and this one just has Stealth Rock, Spikes, Knockoff, dead, everything else. Like,
it's just
kind of funny.
He has 2 pivots, and they are both Samurai and Sneasler, which is really weird to look at. There could be a good chance that Tauros just doesn't have something because it might not be updated, but I'm pretty sure the only one that's not updated is Pheasant Deputy, so that should not be a point. So yeah, I'm pretty sure everything else is here. It just has nothing to work with.
Yeah, I think Sneasler and Terrain's pretty cool, pretty standard pick. Samurott for Spikes, Terra Ursaluna, which is just incredibly scary. As far as working together goes, I'm trying to... Oh, okay, yeah, I see it. So Sneasler, weak to Psychic types, and you set Terrain. That's why you have a strong Dark type.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you have a strong Steel type. And that's why you also have Gudra, who usually is a Spadefmon, right? I'm not...
No, yeah, Spadef.
150 base Spadef. Yeah.
So basically, instead of having a Blissey Scarm, you have a Gudra Scarm, which I think is way better, honestly, because Gudra can punish back, and I love it. We have Quagsire again. He went really strong in the first 3 picks, and then he went Ursaluna. Obviously, Ursaluna's Ursaluna. You don't need an explanation for that. But then he goes Bulk in Delmise, Bulk in Gudra, Bulk in Quag, Bulk in Scarm, and I honestly like it. I like how he rounds out his team a lot. Again, I feel like the only thing is if you could somehow switch out your team to have more momentum, just to be able to get Tapu Lele and Sneasler in safely, so then they can get where they need to go.
No, I think one thing I kind of like about this team is Quagsire Unaware helps punish. One, it can be water absorbed to help out Ursaluna, and Ursaluna already has like kind of difficult to kill with how Sneasler resists fighting types so well, and how there's a Skarmory right there, and there's also a Ghost type. But Unaware is nice because this team I feel like would struggle just a little bit with setup sweepers. I think I don't really know. I've never fought Sneasler, so I don't have a good idea of its damage output. But if you were to potentially, let's say, set up on the bulky side, I don't really see a way that like you really get wall broken, especially if it's like kind of fast, that it would just be able to knock out Ursaluna. Besides Sneasler, I guess just sleeping with Dire Claw. But having Unaware to help prevent that setup sweep potential is really nice, because I think just the sheer offense on this team isn't as high as a lot of the other teams we've looked at. It's still good, don't get me wrong, but Unaware helps cover that a little bit.
I'm gonna be honest, Sneasler is becoming more and more an annoyance to me when I use it in ladder, because I have used it in almost 30 games and I have not gotten a Dire Claw activation yet.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure every time I face somebody, they have a Covert Cloak or something, and it's getting annoying at this point. Oh my god.
Here's Portland Popplios.
Yeah, this is exactly the opposite of the last team we were talking about. It has rocks, it has defog, it has U-turn, it has knockoff, it has its aromatherapy. Like, I don't know. This team has the perfect bulk and strength at the same time. Like, you don't want to mess with this team at all, and it's just...
I'm laughing at the sheer offensive capability of this team.
And the fact that it could take hits too is ridiculous. Like look at the defenses from Necrozma, Sinistcha, Scizor, and Weezing. Like that is just
Oh
defense, I
yeah.
think.
No, man, I think I mentioned, I think I said, I forget which draft it was that we already went over, but I said it's probably the most defensive draft that we've looked at so far. This is the most defensive draft we've looked at.
Yes.
Every Pokemon on this team except for Illumise, which, you know, it's Illumise, and Weezing Galar is a massive offensive threat. And I guess Houndoom, not really, but it's Terra, it can Flame Charge, it can Nasty Plot. I've used it before. It puts in the work. Everything else on this team is a huge offensive threat, whether it be setup, whether it be a fast attacker, or just both. This is wow. I do. You go. Yeah.
The Spidef.
Yeah. No. That's what I was gonna mention. Is because of that, this team is so like. It's relatively frail. Not relatively. It's frail. It's just straight up frail. You can run like a bulky Intimidate Salamence. You have your Weezing Galar, and I guess you have Prankster Encore and Illumise. But those, it's not like you're bringing those three every single week to have like dedicated bulk. You're bringing everything else being like really, really offensive. Except I guess you can do a default Scizor, but Scizor doesn't live everything. It leaves this team kind of prone to getting setup swept. Which, I mean, we already saw happen, but
yeah, but
it's very, very prone to getting swept.
I feel like this team is also in the same right where it can just if you let it set up in any factor, either one, they would just take that they have a setup and start hitting as hard as possible and then try to set up again with another mon. Or, you know, just the fact that they can just U-turn pretty simply by their two really good U-turners. And honestly, I think Quackavolt and Scizor being his main U-turners is just scary because you don't want to take either of them because Quackavolt could use Flip Turn and Scizor using U-turn both stab. And, oh my gosh, both of them can just get out of hand really quickly if they want to. But obviously the biggest thing that we're supposed to be focusing on is Necrozma. And I really don't want to talk about it because I feel like Terra Necrozma is too scary.
I feel like Terra Necrozma is one of those that definitely should have been looked at Terra-wise.
That one's
I'm
like...
not faulting you, but
No,
that, especially with Prism Armor, making super effective attacks weaker. So even if you predict it, it's still like ultra bulky. And it's already got a lot of natural bulk. So that having Terra and also Necrozma, I've used it before. It's got 15 different setup options. And all of them can win. So
I feel like Necrozma just needs Terra Steel, and it can just do whatever it wants. Because as long as you're not getting poisoned, I see no fault in it.
Yeah, no, it's a really scary draft. I do like the without the we mentioned this doesn't really have bulk, but it does have a lot of type like coverage where one typing kind of covers another. For example, Scizor gets destroyed by fire types, so that's good. You got a Quaquaval you can potentially switch in as long as you don't get burned.
Yeah, exactly.
Quaquaval weak to Psychic, that's fine. You got a Necrozma that resists that. You got a Sinistcha that can shred them. Oh, it's weak to Fairy, that's good. You got a Weezing that can deal with that. Weak to Grass, weak to Electric. You got a Sinistcha that can help deal with that. So, yeah, I do think the type coverage is good, and I do think this can work really well as a hyper offense team. I think most of the battles that Chuk plays, though, are going to be determined by who capitalizes on the momentum.
This is Portland.
Oh, it's not Chuk. Oh, it's Portland.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that was Chuk. Whatever.
No, this is the team that faced Chuk, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is a lot of this is gonna depend on who gets momentum and who capitalizes on it the most.
Yeah, exactly.
This shreds most defensive drops.
This is also, again, I'm gonna be watching every game because I am very invested into this league this season, but like I feel like that's a team that I am just very much interested. Also, I wanted to make a statement, but I didn't want to talk about Golden Go earlier. There was your team only has defoggers, and I feel like as soon as you face somebody like this guy's team, he just hazard stack you, and you can't really touch him anymore. Yeah, this team.
Oh, hello to you.
Yeah, this team literally has two of the scariest special attackers in this generation, and being both Chi-Yu and Golden Go, because you don't want to take either of their attacks switching in at all.
This is so icky.
This team has so much special attack, but no attack at all. So one special wall would just go ahead and eat this team up. But it's the fact that he has Chi-Yu is what makes it even harder to...
Yeah, well, Here's
justify.
the problem. The reason that it works is because good as gold plus magic bounce mean that a special wall, unless it's got like crazy spatak as well that it can deal with every single mon on this team, I can't really just be toxicking for free because
Yeah.
you can send one of those in and then go gets nasty plot. Mega Diancie has its own set of options, but I mean the goal of this team is pretty clear. You stack your hazards, you set up Chiyu for the win, and if that doesn't work, you have stalling options in Goldengo. What I mean by that is you have Slowbro that can't get toxic because you have a magic bounce user and a Goldengo. You don't have to defog your own hazards away because you have a magic bouncer,
Exactly.
and a really good spinner in Toadscroll. Like, I see the vision and I hate it. I mean, it's really good. I just hate it.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those teams I really don't know what else to say about it. I just feel like you know exactly what you're doing, and I just want to see what you do. I feel like this is going to be a top 4 team in the end. I feel like they could easily make semifinals with this team. I feel like there's not a lot of teams that have a lot of special bulk, and even if they did, again, Chi-Yu and Golden Go is not really going to care that much. They're going to click their strong move, and they're just going to do so much damage to where even if you do have a special wall, that special wall is not going to want to come in every single time. It's going to get whittled down, and this team is just going to keep hitting you. And it has the bulk that it needs as well for at least to live a few hits and be able to switch out as well with full switch and U-turn and flip turn. And it's just such a good utility team after the first 3 months. After Golden Go, Chi-Yu, and Mega Diancie, it's such a good utility team. It could literally do whatever you need it to do.
Yeah, I do agree with you that no physical attack is definitely a negative point in this draft, but
Yeah.
I see the vision with how hazard stacking with spikes, sticky webs, stealth rocks can help work its way around that problem.
Yeah, like force them
Which
to
is
play,
really scary.
force them to play your game is basically what this team is saying, and I approve on it, 100%. I love it.
Yeah.
And we have Eli's team. I mean, sorry, Goon's team.
This is like you can see where Rally's influence is, and you can see where Eli's influence is.
Yes.
Swallow.
I see Swallow. Yep.
But no, I think this is a really solid draft. I like Terra Skeledirge. I love the speed tiers. Except after no, never mind. I don't love them. After 100, everything drops off, which is
Oh my
a
god,
little
they're so.
tough, but
This is like a me draft, actually. I think this is my draft.
this is what any early PDL mod would draft.
Yes.
I feel like when I joined in season 2 and I was looking at your guys' drafts, those orange name drafts, this is what I expect to look at.
Yes, exactly. Like, I had no speed tier control. I didn't even know speed tiers were a thing. I just wanted mons that I wanted, and then apparently my speed tiers were just non-existent to each other.
Yeah, no, that what I'm saying might not make sense to most people watching because they weren't there, but I just mean one of these drafts that's like, it just feels very solid in general and not like fantastic and not terrible either. Zamazenta Crown's really good, Garchomp's really good, Terra Skeledirge is really good. I don't know how well they're gonna work together. I don't know.
It's one of those things that it has a high ceiling, and what the fuck is that? Do you see Helios weakness?
114. Oh, it's fine. Oh, it's because it can be dry skin and be weak. That's why it's there. That's why it's so weird.
It looks. Why is that? Why does it need to be there though?
Because dry skin, it potentially makes you more weak to fire.
1/4 it says.
Yeah. Because I think it already resists fire as an electric type, but I'm not sure on that.
No, that's not how that works.
No, okay. Well, either way, dry skin makes it weird, so that's how it's saying that.
11/4. No, honestly, I like this team and I hate this team in the sense like I feel like it has such a high ceiling to what you're comfortable with, and I'm not saying, and it's not like a hit at Goons obviously, but I feel like it's one of those things that I wouldn't even be comfortable running either. Like this team has a lot of things where it's a very smart team to run, and I feel like it could be used any way that you need it to be used. I feel like it has a lot of good utility, especially with the right side proving that as well. I just feel like you're gonna be playing a patient game a lot of times just to be able to
Yeah.
get out the game you want.
It feels like it's simultaneously trying to be offensive and defensive. And I mean, that can be a good thing, but I mean, focused on, as in, where instead of just being focused on one or being focused on being a balanced team, I think. I'm trying to figure out what this, because it's just a very unfamiliar, like, I don't really know what Zamazenta Crown struggles with doing, so I don't know what you are supposed to take to really help with that. I'm assuming it's Iron Defense or Howl, and then it's Steel Fighting, which I guess Rabambi helps with webs, making it faster than everything already with its 128.
Exactly.
Garchomp, we all know, is usually a scale shot guy. That's what he does. He scale shots, he swords dances. He can be rough skin bulky too, but let's be real. If you're drafting it for that many points, you're not only going to run that. And I know that struggles with bulky fairies. Having the steel type in Zamazenta is really good to deal with that, especially with how much longevity Zamazenta naturally has. It's really nice. Terra Skeledirge with Unaware, it's just a really, really good check to any setup sweeper. You can basically just dedicated run that for a setup sweeper. No, pretty much no matter what the scenario is, and you should be okay. Unless it's like has neutralizing gas for some reason.
I have only 4 faults with this team.
Only 4.
Only 4. Well, because they're major ones, but like I feel like everything else, I feel like the typing is gonna be how it is. Like I feel like this team can pair well with each other pretty nicely, and I like it. But we have no heal bell. Well, we have aromatherapy. Forget that. We have no wish though. Like this team, I feel like can easily benefit with wish because of one, it's not going to always take all those special defensive attacks. And again, it feels like the opposite of the other team, where it feels like instead of you know having anything to survive against like a special attacking team, he has none. He has only Zamazenta, and again, Zamazenta doesn't want to take all those hits every single time. Heliolisk is not your special defensive wall. It's never. It will never be your. It wouldn't. It's not. That's never going to be its purpose. If you get it to be its purpose, it's probably going to be because of the assault vest, which I can easily see it happening. But that we don't have that. We only have Volt Switch on Heliolisk, which means if you don't bring Heliolisk, we don't have any any momentum to go off of. And it's Terra Skeledirge over Terra Garchomp, and fuck you, Eli. Oh, that was 3 times I said it. This fucking fuck.
Was Garchomp not Terra banned?
Huh? No.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why Garchomp wasn't picked as a Terra.
Yeah.
I wish I saw that instead. Oh, Ninja left. I was gonna ask for an opinion, and I wanted him to just do the quacking noise.
Okay.
All right, so we have the 15th team.
I like this. I think this draft is fun.
I feel like we forgot that we're in Gen 9. This team. Like this
is
like
a very
Gen. This feels like Gen 7 with like a couple other mons.
This feels like what I would draft before I quit, or like took a hiatus, I guess would be the terminology. This feels like something I would draft outside of Latios. That mon sucks dick.
Yeah, like we have Gen 7, we have Gen 7 Ninetales, Gen 7 Salazzle, Gen 7 Aegislash? Or is that Gen 6? No, it's Gen 6, I apologize. And then Gen 7 Sandslash. And then, you know, I just feel like nothing happens after Gen 7 except Battalion and Baxcalibur, which is kind of funny to me. But
yeah, no, I think it's a very cool draft.
It looks fun. I like it.
That's
honestly.
not a pun. I just think Excalibur Ninetales is really cool with having Sandslash.
As soon as he picked up Ninetales, I told you he was gonna pick up Excalibur, and I was so excited to see it because I haven't seen it in a draft yet, and I just want to see what the power is between those two. And it's not a top 5 team for me, but I see no reason it can't be because I see no reason none of these mons can't come to a game. I've noticed it's actually been a while since I said this. There's no mons that can just not show up to a game. I feel like every mon has a threat caliber to it.
Oh, absolutely. Every mon on this draft has to be respected.
Exactly. Like, I just see no reason to ignore anybody. And it's not like, oh, well, Sandslash can be ignored, yada yada. 1, he has the Ninetales, and 2, that's a base 65 speed. That Sand Slash will outspeed most of your Pokemon with that double speed going on. And
Yeah.
with it having Aurora Veil, I don't think Sand Slash will have any problem going ahead and do that. Also, I do not know how many points they do have or how this would really work, but I'm kind of disappointed that they don't have a lower tier dragon and then having Sand Slash be its Terra Captain as well, just so it doesn't have that 4 times
Um,
weakness.
yeah, I know they spent all their points because I know everyone but Xander spent all their points. I believe in Grace they made room for Landorus I because I took it during the draft and then later dropped it, but I'm like 90% sure that they did a lot in their team to make room for Lando I
Yeah,
because it does work well for this team. I agree. Though I see what this team is also trying to do though. There's not a lot outside of Regenerator Tangrowth. There's not a ton of longevity, but it doesn't really need it because you have Aurora Veil Ninetales. So this
exactly.
team's really going to be centered on, can Ninetales keep Veil up? Can you capitalize on Veil being up and put in the work before it goes down and you start taking the big hits?
Yeah, exactly. But I do like the fact that it does have natural bulk as well. So it's not like the other drafts where it's like, oh my gosh, look, it can't survive anything. It has nothing over 100 except this one mon, and this one mon's not gonna want to take all those hits. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different mons that can take a hit on either 3 on the special side or 3 on the physical side, and as well as H slash being both of them. So I'm not going to really include it as such, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. It's very well balanced. You have your threat with Excalibur, Ninetales, and all that. I don't really see any problems with it other than it only has 2 U-turners, but again, both Landorus is a very dangerous U-turner anyways. I wish you
Mhm.
did have more. I wish you did have more momentum on this team, and I wish
That
you
was,
had.
yeah. No, I was gonna mention that too. With Veil being up, it allows hard switching to be punished less, which
Yeah,
is
exactly.
I forgot to bring that up, but because the U-turners are not this, and you don't have a lot of them, and they're not the strongest. You're never really going to be clicking U-turn with Inteleon unless your opponent has a Pokemon that just hard walls it. And same kind of goes for Landorus, and that's very rare for those two Pokemon, especially with Inteleon having Terra.
Exactly.
So no pivot is tough, but Veil kind of helps out with that. So it is going to be a lot of can Veil stay up?
Honestly, other than that, I also wish you had more threats to do hazards, because even if you don't want to bring hazards, it's good to at least have threats just to force your opponent to be like, oh shoot, I'm gonna have to put defog on this mon just in case, and just wasting a move slot. At this point, you're not wasting anybody's move slots. They can easily just be like, all right, well, even if he does bring stealth rocks on Lando, I'll just have boots on this one anyways.
No, Stealth Rock hazards would be very, very nice for this team.
Vax would
Mostly
love it.
because um, this it feels like this team is trying to set up for Caliber, but because there's no U-turn, you can't really get damage without just like outright sweeping someone or making a hard read and getting potentially punished for it. So having more hazards would be nice, just to have that natural whittle down, so you can set up for Caliber or even a Lando or Inteleon or even Aegislash Latios is there too. Like
Yeah,
all those
exactly.
guys can do some sort of sweep. It doesn't even have to be set up, and like especially in Landorus's case, can do some sort of sweep. But because you don't have a lot of that pivot, and like more rocks would be nice.
Yeah, exactly. I do like that's the only fault to this team, and I would not mind seeing that be fixed later on. And then we have probably like the most well-rounded team I think this is the most well-rounded team drafted this season. For a
Yeah, no,
20
I
man
can see that too.
for a 20-man draft, again, just like the last team, I see no reason none of these mons can't come to a game. Like every mon is a threat in its own right. I feel like probably only Iron Jugulus is kind of going to be ignored half the time because I feel like you would rather have Umbreon half the time. But
Hmm.
I see no reason that Iron Jugulus can't come.
Hmm.
This team has the perfect amount of bulk. It has its switch arounds. It has its baton pass. Actually, it doesn't have much switch arounds. It only has bolts. Oh no, never mind. Sorry, U-turn. There it is. It has its U-turns, but two of those mons don't really want to use U-turn anyway. Um, honestly, it doesn't really matter with unlike the other team, this team can just easily just come in and switch in, and it doesn't really care because it can just heal up from Umbreon's
Wishes.
great wishes with 95 HP. It resists a lot of moves, so as long as it can keep scouting on what you do have, it's going to be harder for you to even fight this team. I don't like Great Tusk being a Terra, but I don't hate it either because I see no other reason why anything else needs to be a Terra. There's no
And
reason. Yeah,
Volcarona was Terra banned, I'm
exactly.
pretty sure,
It
right?
was,
Yeah,
yes.
so that's not an option.
So there's no reason for anybody else to be a Terra other than Floatzel. So again, I feel like Great Tusk can easily just take up that Terra role just because.
Yeah, no, this is you said it was a very balanced draft. Cantaloupe, I've been pretty open with this. Cantaloupe's a friend of mine. I didn't help them at all during draft. I helped them in Grace, and my influence is the Umbreon and the Comfey getting picked up. Because I noticed that this draft got destroyed by a dragon, and I was like, okay, well, you need a fairy type because otherwise someone just clicks Bandit Outrage and you can't do anything about it. Besides, Prey Ferrothorn does enough in Chip. And Umbreon, you needed a stronger dark type than Iron Jugulus, and Wish Passes also just helps out a lot.
Amazing, yeah.
My one big complaint for this team is there is not a lot of speed. The fastest is Floatzel, which is, we all know is not gonna it's not gonna come very often.
Yes.
Other than that, you have Iron Jugulus. I mean, in key with that, you do have Quiver Dance Volcarona. That's pretty much always going to be +1 whenever you're using it.
Yeah, exactly.
You do have Triage Comfey. That's always going to be, moving first because of Draining Kiss, Triage, and Spin Tusk, which automatically kind of gives it a speed boost. But
you also do have Iron
to
Jugulus
waste
for
your turn.
Cork Drive as well, but
Right, but that's if you use it correctly. And you only get one switch in on that.
I
It's
would not be
consistent.
surprised if this team just slowly if Cantaloupe just slowly develops into not a stall team, but a whittled down team, so then Volcarona could just come in and just clean up kind of thing, where everybody is whittled down to like 60% HP left, 70% HP left, and it's like, all right, Volcarona can just come in, Quiver Dance once in front of the mon it's waiting to Quiver Dance in front of, and then just clean up. I feel like this team can easily pull that off with the mons that it does have.
Yeah, it feels like that. This team, just by looking at it, it's supposed to be Ferrothorn, and Ferrothorn puts up the hazards, gets the Leech Seed. Umbreon does its foul play business. You slowly whittle down to set up for something like a Cress Calm Minding, a Jugulus, Orc Drive, sweeping, a Great Tusk with a Rapid Spin, running through and punching holes. And like you said, Volcarona's right there with Quiver Dance at the end of the day. So, yeah, it does feel a lot like this team is supposed to be the one to whittle down, take it slow, and then eventually pick the right opportunity to win with a Terra Great Tusk or a Volcarona or a Jugulus or one of those like more offensive threats.
Yes, exactly, and especially with if you see how much green there is, it's just beautiful looking at that. I honestly see no problem with your only red being flying. I don't really care much about flying. It's like rock type. I don't care how much I'm weak to rock. It's the chances of you actually having a good Pokemon that can use either of those moves is very slim. And I rather see you bring it than than anything else. I want to see what you have against my team, and that's what I feel like this team can show. I feel like as long as Cantaloupe learns with their team this season, I feel like they can easily claim wins that they deserve to win with this team because this team can easily punish. And I feel like Floatzel, if anything, is going to be probably the most Terra'd Mon versus him and Great Tusk because Wave Crash is just so strong.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that too. And I mean, Terra Great Tusk is good. It's a good Pokemon, and Terra makes anything already better, but it's not like it's the strongest mon to use Terra with. So it might not always even need to Terra versus just using it with Floatzel instead.
Exactly. Well, that's all the teams, honestly. We went through 40 slides. Looks pretty good. If you had to give your top 3 teams, who would they be?
Top 3 team. Okay, hold on. Let me pull up the doc because I did not rehearse this.
Yes.
So Agency's draft easily. Sylvestron's draft is one I would love to use, and finally, the last one's a little hard for me to kind of figure out. I would. Besides mine, because I like mine too much. Um, I think either fire truckers, because I see the vision, and although I hate it, I see how efficient that is and how it can really, really devastate a team. Um, and man, I don't know. Maybe Rayans, because Annihilate and Chi and Pow together is just so powerful, and a lot of people are going to struggle to really stop that onslaught of Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly.
I gave 4. I cheated, but
yes,
you know.
I saw that. Again, oh my god, I gave 5 in my top 5, and I had to pick between those. That sucks.
Yeah, no, it's difficult, like, right? Like, especially just like at a glance without really like. We just went in depth, but it's not like I was going in depth knowing I was about to rank them all.
It sucks too because I know my top 3 is definitely agency. This team is just really good. I just see no faults with it, honestly. I feel like, again, with the bulk, it could definitely have some better bulk going on. But I feel like this team is just... I think this is the team you said you're ready to just finish the game within 30 turns.
Yeah.
I like this team.
Win or lose.
Yeah, exactly. I love this team. Who else do I get to pick? You know what? Let's go to Milwaukee Mawwiles, Ashante. I am so excited for this team. Every mon that they have is just perfect. It's just I am so excited for this. Who else? I was very excited for one more team. Like I said this earlier in the thing, and I don't remember it now. I feel like Ashante was definitely my favorite draft altogether. And you know what? No, I'm not gonna give it to Xander. Xander, you're honorable mention. I can't wait for your team to basically make playoffs and just start hitting like a fucking truck. Let's go with your draft, man. I love this draft. It is
Big dubs.
It is, I can't say anything bad about this draft at all, and it's just the fact that everything is basically from speed tiers going down. Other than, you know, I feel like this is the kind of what you're saying earlier, but like
the sheer drop after like 95. Yeah,
but like this is kind of what I like, as long as the drops are good, because I don't care I don't care if I have a slow mon. It's Garganacl and Slowking. Who cares? Like they're supposed to be slow. Okay, it's Mega Scizor. You're scared of Mega Scizor anyways, even if he has low speed. He's going to bullet punch you and you're not going to like it. I see no fault with this team so far, and I'm excited to see how you play along with that as well.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about this one. Doge's team with Terra Blood Moon is horrifying.
Yeah, I wanted to ignore it. It's actually the other special team. It's the other special team, just like what's his name? Where is he? I found him somewhere. With Chiyu. Yeah, Argentina and Doge literally have the same concept. Hit heavy with special attack, and I want to see what you can do against my team.
Yeah, but hey, I guess that's it. We did it.
Perfect. It took 2 days and almost 2 hours, and I'll take it. All right. I feel happy. We went pretty fast for 20 teams. I feel like under 2 hours is pretty good. But yeah. Also, the best team in this draft is actually mine. So bye everybody.